everyone. I hope you can hear me. My name is Carlos, and I'm the pastor here at the Grand Prairie Church. And so we're so delighted to have our guests as well as our members here. And we have a special guest. Well, we have a special guest, group of guests, a team. But I want to introduce you to, you could say, our head chef. It is Sister Marti Schneider. Marty Schneider has made her home here in North Texas for the last 10 years. And prior to that, she and her husband, Don, lived and ministered in many parts of the United States. More about how to eat healthier.
And anyway, so why do we offer these out of the norm recipes? What is the value in eating more healthy? Well, I'll tell you what. He is diabetic, and he has, you know what A1C is? You've heard they talk about that these days. It's how much carbohydrate type foods you have eaten during the last 3 months, and they can tell by your blood. Well, my brother was having, his A1C was like 12 whatevers. And my sister-in-law started cooking for him in a different way. And now his A1C is in 5+. It is so exciting. And he really can't get out and exercise. He's not able physically. But I was going to have her come and tell you what did she do that was different. Because I thought it become a diabetic. And so why don't we pay attention? She said, you know, sometimes they'll say, oh, don't eat lots of cereals if you're diabetic. Don't eat a lot of fruit if you're diabetic. Well, she gives him for morning breakfast oatmeal. And she cooks it in the microwave. And then she's got it cooked. And it's a big bowl. It's like really big. And then she'll load it up with all kinds of fruits. It's just like a fruit salad on top. And he just eats it, he enjoys it, and he feels satisfied. He did not eat breakfast before. Now he eats breakfast. Then for lunch, let's see, what did she say she feeds him? He got sick today, so I said, you better tell me what you would say. Okay. She said, she puts a little margarine over top, sprinkles cinnamon if she feels like it, nuts and seeds. She puts that on there. And, thank you. And she says she cuts up maybe a couple of kinds of grapes, strawberries, apple, banana, mandarin slices, a few blueberries, and some raspberries. All of that. Anyway, sounds very good. And then she tried to keep 50 grams of carbohydrates only for the day. They eat a lot of beans, which also has carbohydrates, but it's also high protein. And just the way they eat salad, she'll cut him up. He doesn't eat lettuce. He always informs me of this. He doesn't eat, when I say, you want some salad, I don't eat lettuce. But she'll give him maybe a couple of tomatoes sliced. He loves that. And all kinds of veggies that are not cooked, but they're on a plate for him. And he eats that and his beans. You know, he really is much more compliant than my husband was. And then they'll have maybe a thin crust pizza. They will go eat pieces. So he limits what he's going to do. She is very careful how much she gives him, the quantity she gives him. If it's veggies, loads of money. Otherwise, veggies, you know, you can have a lot. So just wanted you to know there are ways to be healthy, to get healthy. And our food, you've heard them say, our food is our medicine. So we can use it that way. So here's a cookbook that I just found. I just found it the other day. I have one called From Plant to Faith. But this one is diabetes edition. And I thought, I'm going to learn some things from this. It's going to make it simple. And so I just found this, and I'm really excited about it. I have some cookbooks on the back here. I have a whole thing of cookbooks like this in my kitchen. I don't need that many, but okay. Are you ready to go? Okay, our first presenter is going to be Irene Her. Irene, I'm going to let you tell a little bit about yourself quickly, and then share with us what you got.
That way, if you don't want to hold it, let's have it protected. It's okay if you need to put one of these on you. What's that one? The live stream, so I can hold it here as well. Perfect.
Hello, good morning. You are the brave ones coming to eat somebody else's food.
This is just for the live so that we can hear you.
I'm Irene Her. I'm a retired educator, and I've taught everything from first grade to 12th grade. Most recently in Keene Junior High, drama, music, and reading for 7th graders. Love those 7th graders. And I am half Italian. My mother was born in Naples and was a war bride.
Put them in this, and we're not
so
going to
I
worry
grew
about
up
what they taste like
eating
right at the moment.
wonderful,
And we're going to
wonderful
put the toast
food.
with it.
In fact, even today, Italian food is my favorite food. So I've been
They need to
retired,
see it
watching lots of
because-
cooking shows on TV.
But it's
and
not right away.
I'm not the
So do
best
some
cook. I
right
want to
now.
learn from you, probably. We're all the same. We're learning. But
Is it dirty?
today I made tofu. Did you want me to do that first?
Your
Or talk
breakfast
about
tofu?
shopping first?
What's that?
Talk about shopping first?
No, do your tofu.
Okay. Tofu is bean curd made from soy milk, and they compress it and into a, you probably know this, probably better than me, into a block, and it needs to stay in water until you're going to use it. What I've done is cubed it, but I want you to know you need to dry it with paper towels first. Get as much of the liquid out as you can. And I'll bring it right up here.
And they have the recipe. Do you have recipes? Okay. Let's see, where is it? Can you find it? Her recipe. Breakfast tofu, first one.
So I offered to do tofu because Sunday I made it and it was so good, and today it doesn't taste as good as it did then.
Yes.
Isn't that the case? So
You need
I
hot
start with
pads.
a little onion and olive oil, and then put the tofu in there because I want it to
That's fine,
dry
anyway.
out. And so it takes maybe 15 minutes for the tofu to get
Okay,
where you
let me
can
see
push
what's
it and
next.
it's not going to break apart. I added a lot of different spices, Mrs. Dash, and when I put the tomatoes in, I thought, how about basil? And of course, you need a lot of salt for tofu because it's very bland and it picks up, it absorbs all the flavors. Now, some people will marinate it ahead of time, like an hour, marinate it in peanut oil and sesame oil and ginger and garlic. But we were afraid somebody might have a peanut allergy or some kind of allergy, so I just used olive oil today. One thing I discovered in making, if you scramble it, it can be mashed and look like scrambled eggs. A little bit of this liquid smoke. Did you know they made such a thing? A little bit of this in here helps it to taste like eggs. But I may have put too much in today, so it tastes like barbecue. But you can make a Hawaiian barbecue with tofu, with pineapple and barbecue sauce and the smoke, and those come out too. I didn't
have
bring
oil?
that recipe, but that's pretty good. So,
I can't hear you.
is Marty?
Oh.
So it's a complement to your morning with hash browns and some fruit and tofu, which is a
Toast on a
good
plate.
protein for you. And remember that you can make it taste good. You can make it taste good. I watch so many cooking shows and they wrinkle their noses when it comes to tofu, but you can make it taste good with onions and tomatoes and green peppers. I didn't put the peppers in here today either, but anyway, that's tofu. Are there any questions about tofu that I might have information on? How many of you have cooked tofu before? Whoa, I'm talking to the choir. Okay,
To the choir.
thank you.
And
Yes, question?
There's a place in Arlington where you can buy it already squeezed and pressed and everything, and it says plain. So whenever I buy that, this liquid aminos, is that the best way to flavor that? Or do you-
I like liquid aminos. It's a substitute for soy sauce. You can use soy sauce. And I forgot to put that in here. That's what I need to put in here. Liquid aminos has all the aminos that you need, and to me it tastes like soy sauce and doesn't have so much sodium. But soy sauce you can use, and low sodium soy sauce is available as well.
If I'm doing that, do I put it in,
repeat her question.
like dice it up?
Can you hear?
Is it already, it's not already diced? So
It's in a little cube.
but it's hard. Yeah, it comes in a cube, and you can marinate it, but if it's already, looks like it's hard, you don't have to marinate. Well, I think you should marinate it anyway. It just helps it helps to make it a shorter time to prepare because the liquid is not in there.
Like put it in the skillet
And this is extra firm, and there is firm, and then there's soft, and then there's silken, which you use for like smoothies or something. And I guess the firm or the soft you can use as scrambled eggs. I just prefer this. If you can put this into a burrito, put all this into a burrito with some cheese and sauce, and yummy.
Now, did they catch her question? Did everyone
I
understand her
think so.
question?
They can hear. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I can't hear that.
Speak up.
You know, I don't know about that. I was reading that when it comes, and I was going to bring that up, when it comes to greens and maybe potatoes, organic is very important. But I don't know if you need to spend the extra money for
1 second.
for other things. When it comes to something that grows in the ground, maybe carrots and salad greens, they do spray a lot of lettuces to make them look so
Need
pretty.
to repeat the
But I don't know, if in doubt, buy organic. Any other question? Thank you,
And-
Marty.
Thank you, Irene. Now, I just wanted to show you another breakfast item, which you may have tried before. Let's see, are you able to see this? Is it in a good position? And this is breakfast beans. Bring it up here. Okay. And you can cook these from scratch, or you can get it in the pan. You can cook these from scratch, or get it in the, in cans. I think they taste so much better if you cook it from scratch. But this is simply navy or Great Northern beans, and then put it over toast, and it's a wonderful thing. You also have some ideas of some fruit you can put over toast as well. So these are some of your breakfast ideas. Irene, are you ready to talk to us about shopping?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take these out of the way. Repeat their questions so that it's going live feed.
Okay. Tips for shopping. I just don't feel like I'm the person to tell you. Y'all are here and wanting to know more, and you probably know it. Starting off with what's recommended for your diet. Whole grains and potatoes, 6 to 11 servings a day. That's a half cup serving. That doesn't mean you have to eat 11 hash brown servings. It comes, that's
Good.
whole
Perfect.
grains and potatoes. So you have your bread, and you have maybe
What?
oatmeal, you've got already 2 or 3 servings
Sure.
right there. Fruits
I
and
want 'em to see the can,
vegetables,
but
5
just-
servings a day, and that counts as 1 cup.
You don't
or
have
one
to. You
item.
can open it if you
Legumes,
need to.
nuts, and seeds, 2 or 3 servings a day.
Yes, we're making burgers.
Dairy,
So-
2 to 3 servings a day.
We'll
And
count the people right
fiber,
quick.
18 grams. It's important that you get enough fiber. You can look on the back of a can of something and see how much fiber is in it. And if it's more than 2, that's good, but 2 is good, 1 or 2. Protein, fats, water, and 10 cups a day. And soda, tea, and coffee don't count. Those deplete you. They're like diuretics. They deplete the water in your system. You want to have water. Bombs. Think of
Okay, they have
bombs,
about
B-O-M-B-S.
25 people.
And I've heard this several places, that it's good to have beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds and nuts every day, a little bit of all of those.
So you added
Shopping for vegetables, usually
Keep it
the
moving.
smaller, the sweeter, especially with carrots and some things.
You
other
fix that
things,
to
but
match what
the
you
smaller,
wanted, the
sweeter.
temperature, because I
Broccoli
had it
should
high
be
for a
bright
while.
and compact with no yellow on
It's
it.
on off now.
And you get as much
Okay.
calcium as milk from broccoli.
Where's the can opener?
They're good for 2 or 3 days. I'm afraid I failed on a lot of this stuff. We go shopping with big hunger and big eyes, and we come home and it sits in the fridge. So these are for me today. Broccoli should just sit 2 or 3 days. Cauliflower should not have any black spots on it. How many of you pulled that cauliflower out and cut the black spot off? Okay, so we need to shop with in mind what day we're going to use this item, and keep 2 or 3 days in the refrigerator. Of course, cauliflower can be baked, boiled, mashed, riced, steamed, roasted, curried, and even pizza crust. And they make good pizza crust. Cabbage, Chinese cabbage, bok choy. Main thing, do not overcook. I'm guilty of that too. I've just been reading and studying this, and they said 3 or 4 minutes for cabbage. And cabbage is one of those things that is it cabbage? It's better for you cooked. No, it's carrots are better for you cooked than raw. But cabbage is good. It reduces colon cancer. It's great for juicing. I have this story of my daughter who has colitis. She's in her 40s now, and she's having a flare-up. But I remember she was taking prednisone about 10 years ago, and they doubled the prescription, another 6 weeks or whatever, and she was just suffering. And I made her juice. I told her, don't you eat anything. I'm going to give you juice for breakfast. And I take it to her work, and I take it to her at home for 3 days, and she cleared up. So I believe in food as medicine. You can store the cabbages in your salad drawer 1 to 2 days before using. I've got longer than that. Sorry. Brussels sprouts. Look for small, tightly packed leaves. Remove the outer leaves and then cut across in the stem. That helps it to cook better from the inside. And they can also not just be boiled or baked, but they can be shredded as a slaw. Asparagus has diuretic and laxative properties. I don't know if any of you experienced that. I think I have. And when you prepare asparagus, it knows where it's not good, where it's tough. And all you do is hold it like this, and it will break at the spot where where the tough part is over there and the good part is over here. Let's see if I can do that again. See, this one's longer than the other one because it knows where that is to happen. Okay, I love asparagus. Tastes like candy to me. Put it in a little olive oil, little sesame seeds on it. Wrap it in foil and put it in your oven or on the campfire. And wow, that's good. Okay, green leafy vegetables, 2 to 3 days in the fridge is best. Kale, remember that when you're using kale in a salad, you want to take those ribs off. I've got a bunch of fresh kale, and it's easy to pull the leaf off. And I have a bag of kale where you think it's ready to go, but it's still got those ribs. They're tough. You want to take those ribs off. And if you're doing it in a salad, massage your kale. Bring out the juices of the kale. Massage it with your fingers before you put your dressing on. Zucchini. The small ones have the most flavor. And if you're using zucchini in a casserole or in a patty, then you want to make sure that when you've shredded it or sliced it, that you've dried it. It's another one of those that needs to be dried with a paper towel or a kitchen towel. Squashes, of course. Winter squash keeps for several weeks. Summer squash, a few days. Garlic. Choose smaller, juicy, smaller bulbs. They have more flavor. And that's another thing that it will keep a long time, but if you keep it too long, you're going to see it all yucky, brown, maybe turning to ash. But when they're fresh, like this one just came from the store this morning, they're so beautiful. And have you heard of that little roly-poly thing? You put your garlic in and you roll it, takes the skin off. See, you guys are good. I'm just learning. All right, onions keep 1 or 2 months. Yay! And they're a source of quercetin, which is a potent antioxidant. And this is new to me. Eating a half a day of a raw onion will lower your LDL cholesterol and raise your HDL cholesterol. Lower the bad and raise the good. If you can eat a half of one, it's easy in a salad, I suppose. But just to go and eat it like an apple, I'm not sure that.
Did you say that was an onion?
Yes.
I'll tell you why that is. Because you get stressed when you've got to be around people too much, don't you? So if you eat a lot of onion, forget the people.
Leeks. Keep a week in the fridge. Choose bright green leaves with roots. Be sure to wash your leeks if you do leeks. It's like a giant green onion, and it has root on the end, like the little green onions. You cut that off, then you need to cut off some of the green because they're tough. But there's layers, so many layers, and dirt is in all those layers. So this is something you really have to wash well. You can't just slice it and put it in the frying pan. You're going to have to put it in a bowl, separate it, and get all that dirt out several times. But leeks, they're very good. Mushrooms keep up to 4 days. How do you clean a mushroom? Wash it? Take a damp paper towel and wipe them because mushrooms absorb liquid, and if you put it in the water, you're losing a lot of stuff when you start to fry it. So wipe it with a damp paper towel. Avoid using the discolored ones or the slimy ones that have been in the fridge and you said, I paid money for that. Don't use those. Anybody know what I'm talking about? A slimy mushroom. Ooh. All right. Shopping for herbs. They can be easily grown in pots, and you can buy now a pot sometimes at the grocery store, H-E-B, for the same price of buying basil in a little plastic cellophane. You can buy a pot that will keep growing for you in your kitchen. So I recommend that. So many medicinal benefits. If you're using dried herbs, you only need to use half of what's called for in the recipe for a fresh herb. They can freeze and keep well for up to 3 months. Take an ice cube tray, fill it with half water, put your herbs in there, your leaves, whatever, and then put more water and put it in the ice cube, in the freezer. And another way is to take your leaves and put them on a cookie sheet, put that in the freezer, and then when it's frozen, take it out and put it in a sealed baggie. Okay, but the ones that are best used fresh, they don't work too well with that, is basil, cilantro, and parsley, the ones we want to use the most maybe. Basil, cilantro, and parsley need to be used fresh. You can dry them in bunches, hang them upside down in a warm, dark place, and then when they're dry, you can store them in a jar. Okay, shopping for grains. Wheat berries. I've never bought wheat berries. Has anybody bought wheat berries? Okay, well, we'll skip that one. They keep for 6 months. Whole wheat flour should be used within 3 months. And I looked at my counter, and there's a bag of whole wheat flour. I'm going to make bread. I'm going to make bread. I'm going to make bread for 3 weeks now. So today I got to go make bread. Whole wheat flour, because the oils in the grain can turn rancid. And the same with nuts. I don't know if you know about nuts when you buy them. They can turn rancid. So if you don't put them into a jar, then you need to put them in your refrigerator for a while. Wheat germ deteriorates quickly at room temperature, so that needs to go in the refrigerator for no more than a month. Complete protein. There is a complete protein, gluten-free, plant-based, starts with Q. Quinoa, and another one that starts with B, buckwheat. Buckwheat and quinoa are complete proteins and good for you to replace meat. Lentils will keep up to a year. Beans. I read in the book, it said the F word. Ooh, what's the F word? F-L-A-T-U-L-E-N-C-E. All right, to get rid of the F word, soak overnight. Never cook beans in their soaking water. You need to drain them. There's a reason for that. Skim off the scum. Sometimes the scum forms on the surface when you're boiling beans. You want to skim that off. And then put in some digestive herbs, that dill and ginger. Those are good for helping the digestion. And then don't cook your beans with salt. Add the salt after they're soft, after they're cooked. Tofu, we've already talked about. Butter. Unsalted butter should keep about 2 weeks in the fridge, and salted keeps about 4 weeks before going bad. They have to be wrapped, or they pick up the flavors of the other things in the refrigerator. Margarine will keep 2 months. Okay, there's so much. You could spend a class on just that. But anyway, are there any questions that I might have the answer to? Bombs. Earlier I mentioned bombs, B-O-M-B-S, to have every day. Have beans, onions, mushrooms, berries or the berry family, strawberries, blueberries, and the S stands for seeds with nuts. So you need some of those every day. Don't make a meal out of that, but you know, a little here, a little there. Anything else? Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. Can you freeze flour? Does anybody have the answer? Yes, you can freeze flour. Oh, I don't know. I'll look that up. I will look that up. Okay? Thank you. I think my dish is ready to come out. My dish is ready to come out.
You're going to talk about now?
No, that's the Mexican enchilada. Ow.
My sister wants one.
Is she ready to do the meatballs? I want her to do the meatballs next.
Okay.
The question is the information she's been sharing in a cookbook, or is it in a handout?
No, here she comes. She's going to talk to us.
Marty gave me this book last night and said, study it. Actually, she said, only the first 100 pages have to do with shopping. So anyway, I was up at 4:30 at my computer. I'm looking, this is the book, it's called Vegetarian. Consultant editor Nicola Graimes, Graimes. Over 300 healthy, wholesome recipes, and the first part is all about shopping and what to look for. So I'm going to look up that question about how long can flour last.
And it's time for you to do
My what?
the meatballs. Are they ready? Yes. Okay, we're going to shift here. We're going to move breakfast off.
Okay, you have a, do I need my little square? Okay. Okay. Do you have 2 recipes for meatballs? Yes? And one says meatless and one says vegetarian. I don't know what is in your handout. I've been using the vegetarian meatballs for so many years. I love it, made with pecan meal and cottage cheese. We even used them at my daughter's wedding, made them into little cocktail meatballs with a toothpick. But that's not what I made today. Today I made the meatless meatballs. They also use pecans, but no cottage cheese. What I did use was Morningstar Farms. This is crumbles. Comes in your freezer section with stripples and burgers and grillers, and this was the crumbles. So, do we have the
What would you like?
meatballs?
The meatballs.
They're in the warmer.
Somebody have a hot pan?
Right there.
There's a whole bunch of them right there. Just come do.
Right here. Okay, I'll talk. So I put all this stuff together. For 2 cups of chopped pecans, and I chop them with my chop. I don't try to do it with a knife. 1.5 cups cracker crumbs. I did not use Ritz. This time I used panko. Another time I used breadcrumbs. I didn't use the Ritz. There's a lot of butter in Ritz crackers. A quarter teaspoon garlic powder, a dash of celery salt, 1 to 2 onions, 5 cloves of garlic, sauteed, a bag of Morningstar Farms crumbles, a tablespoon of soy sauce or liquid aminos, that's what I use. I use the flaxseed meal, a tablespoon of flaxseed and 3 tablespoons of water for each egg. And it's a binder instead of eggs. Half a cup of grated cheese. I don't remember what cheese I used here. Sometimes I use Daya. It's a vegan cheese, but I may have used cheddar. I can't remember. And then some liquid smoke. So you've done this before, I'm sure. You just take some in your hand, and it sticks together. That flaxseed meal is a binder. And roll them around. I always wind up making them, you may like them big, more forward. I can't do, I'm hugging this thing. I like them small because then they can eat more. I should make them big so I could say I'm eating less. I only ate 1 giant meatball, but I ate like 4. Okay, so they stick together really well. That's a selling point for me. And this is what they look like. And the sauce at the bottom uses a barbecue sauce, some little sugar, some vegan butter. I did what it said. And liquid smoke, and added some water. And so I think they smell good from up here. They smell like barbecue. So you'll have a taste of those later. Thank you. Marty. Ready?
Yes, right away. I will just tell you while she's getting set up for another demonstration. This is a paper. I thought about making you a copy, but it doesn't match your store. What I did was take everything I normally would use, and I put it by the aisle where I shop. I shop H-E-B, and it's a very big store, but then you know what they did? They rearranged the store. But anyways, if I were really ambitious, I would go in and fix it. But I have a list of most everything that I would purchase, and I put a dot. When my husband was alive, I would just put a dot beside it and maybe give him a little instructions. Not too ripe, not rotten. He got one of each. Tomatoes had some good, some rotten, and some ripe, and some green. So that was his shopping style. But anyway, this is so handy, and it gets you lots of oohs and ahs while you're shopping. But I put a dot beside it, and I'll say, oh, I want 4 cans of olives, or I want, whatever. And so I know what I'm looking for that week, and that's very helpful to me. And I was going to show you, I have cookbooks back here for you to look at after we're done, and you're welcome to look and not take. But I knew you wouldn't anyway. But 2 of my favorites. This one is totally plant-based, and you may have it. Teeny Finley does cooking schools, and you may have seen her do them on TV. Well, I really like this one, and I dearly love this one by Karen Houghton, who is, do you know her? Any of you know her? She's married to a guy he's a grown-up now, but my husband used to take them out singing Christmas carols when they were just children. We lived in Oklahoma City at that point. So anyway, so I love those, but there's many very good cookbooks back there. And if you can find one recipe out of a cookbook, you've hit the jackpot, because that's what I usually say. That's why I have so many cookbooks. Of course, I thought they might just cook for themselves. I didn't know.
I always said when I was working, I needed a wife. So. Okay, Irene, what are you doing for us next? Enchilada casserole. Okay, come and talk to us about it. Are you demonstrating or are you talking?
I'm just going to show.
Talking and tasting later. Okay.
I need the towel to put that
Oh,
on.
I'm sorry.
Okay, this is the vegetarian black bean enchilada casserole. It is very easy, and looking at the recipe, you can see I wrote on there, I made it for Valentine's Day. Okay, it uses corn tortillas, red enchilada sauce. I don't know what el pato is. I didn't use it. One red bell pepper diced, one green bell pepper diced, some corn, black beans, cheddar cheese, and green onion, which I have. I just washed my hands another time. So this is using, and maybe you can, see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corn tortillas, and then it's topped with corn, beans, and green pepper, and then some cheese, and there's sauce on the bottom. Then another 6 tortillas, and layer it again. It's like a Mexican lasagna. How many have had this before? Something like this. Oh. And then the last layer is another 6 tortillas and sauce and cheese. And
what kind of cheese do you use?
Well, this was cheddar.
Okay.
Last time I made it, I used Daya shreds.
Are they acquainted with diet?
Daya is a soy cheese, and it is a little sweet, but you can mix it with a cheddar some kind. So this is black bean enchilada casserole. Any questions? You cook it at 375 for about 45 minutes. That one takes a little longer than other stuff.
Well,
I'm going to remove it.
are you done? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, we have a question. Daya? Is it D-A-I-Y-A? You spell, that's the cheese that it's what is it, soy cheese?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Okay, and you are going to tell us one more recipe.
One more.
Okay, hang on, this one looks good.
Do I need to show? I don't need to show that.
Do you want to show something there, or?
That was just rice.
Oh, okay, okay.
This, I can do this. No, I can't. This is like your dump curry. I put everything in there at one time. Very easy. Recipe. Where's my recipe? It's called Easy Coconut Chickpea Curry. I put in a can of chickpeas. It's supposed to be a half can of coconut milk, but it all slipped in there before I could stop it. Coconut milk, chopped tomatoes in a can, an onion finely chopped, a couple of garlic cloves minced, a teaspoon of turmeric, a teaspoon of curry powder, half teaspoon of chili powder, and cauliflower, and I forgot to put the carrot in, sorry. So we mixed everything together, let it cook for 20-25 minutes. And this is, can you see it? This is what it looks like. And I used my Immersion Blender, but I knew I was making noise over at Marty, so I didn't use it completely. But how many have an Immersion Blender? Oh,
It's wonderful.
wonderful. I make soups a lot. I make soups for sick people or somebody who's mourning, and I take a soup over to their house. And if it's a cream soup, I would take the soup from the pot, buy cups into the blender, from the blender whiz it, put it into a jar, and I have to keep doing that. And I got this Immersion Blender, and you just put it in there, it plugs in, and it goes zzz, and in here are the blades, and it may take you a little longer, but you heard me probably using it, and it chops up the vegetables. If you do it enough, you can have a silky smooth soup. But this is curry, and so I don't care that it's got chunks of cauliflower in it. I'm sorry I forgot the carrots, but it smells so good. So that's one way to use cauliflower. And again, you notice that I use lots of spices. I just think that's the key to good vegan food, is use your herbs and spices. They don't have to be spicy, but you gotta have something in there to bring flavor. Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Irene. We appreciate so much all you've done here.
Thank you.
Okay, you want to take this? And we'll bring on our next presenter. And this is Dina Crespo. I just met her. So come and let me introduce you, and you can tell us about yourself and what you're going to make. Okay?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dina Crespo, and we met this morning with her. We spoke on Friday, and I was telling her this morning that I'm new here in Texas. For my brothers and sisters from the church, they know I just moved here not even 2 months ago. I got here on the beginning of January. And the reason I moved here is because my husband brought me here. We got married last December, and I'm from Maryland, and I couldn't get him to move over there. So, no, that's not true. God has plans, and he brought me here, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm going to make this morning a special kale loaf. Vegan. And for those who don't know what this is like imitation of meatloaf, but this is made out of cereal, out of special K cereal. And so I'm gonna do the demonstration. I already have one made, and how we do this, and the substitutions of eggs and how we make that, and also from the cheese.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
My question is Special K, why is it any different than cornflakes? Do you know anything about that? Is it?
Not really. You tell me.
I believe that it's higher protein, and it is prepared. I think it may be a rice product. I'm not sure, but anyway, it is more nutrients in it than a plain cornflakes. But cornflakes would work if you really want to do that, I think. So anyway,
yes,
okay.
and yes, I was worried. I mentioned to her I went to like 2 or 3 stores and I couldn't find it. And then she texted me and she said, I've been looking for that. And I said, oh no, I hope I find it. So
where did you find it?
Finally at the Walmart near here.
Okay.
Yes, I went to another places and I couldn't. So we're gonna start. The first thing we're gonna do is, if you have the recipe here, you see all the ingredients, and we're gonna soak the cereal with milk. And you can, I put almond milk because that's the milk I like, but you can use soy milk or rice milk, but has to be plain, no sugar added, or no flavor, because I know it's vanilla almond or vanilla, any has to be plain, because we need it for this salty meal. So we're going to soak this first. The second thing I like to do, thank you, is the flaxseed. This is going to be our egg. So just take a couple minutes. So we mix this. And as you see, it doesn't have to be so watery, because we don't want this to be too, it just needs to be softened. And this is almost ready. Then we already have, we chop the onions, the mushrooms, and mushrooms you can add more if you want, or some people don't like it, you don't have to put it in. Or some people are allergic to mushrooms also, so it's your, as your taste. I have the onions and the mushrooms already. You put the onions first, and when you see the onions already like golden, then you add the mushrooms. And I put here, you can use either vegan butter or olive oil. I used today olive oil because I couldn't find the other butter. Like I said, I'm new here. I don't know much of the stores. I know that I found some things in one store and I went to another, I couldn't find it, and it's like, I'm just working hard on this. So then we mix this. We mix all the ingredients after this. For the walnuts, you can use either walnuts or pecans. I liked more pecans, so you just use this and the, you can chop them in the food processor or any, I just use my, my NutriBullet. So you add this. Then this is onion salt, garlic salt, 2 teaspoons of salt. I don't put much, but it's as your taste. You start mixing this. And the original, not the original, but the vegetarian recipe has cottage cheese. Since this is vegan, we're not using eggs or cheese, so I use tofu. You get the 14 ounces. I like to use, I got the package, I like to use this one, which is high protein. You can use any as you taste, but I like to use this one because it has more protein. And I found this at Walmart. So you put the tofu on paper towel for about 2 or 3 minutes to the water can come out, and then you crumble the whole thing. And this is going to be our cheese. And for flavor, I like to put this Lipton onion soup. And also, this this, for those who don't know, this is the seasoning, the G. Washington, and the recipe requires the brown one because that makes the brown color. This is golden. I just got it from our sisters here because, like I said, I couldn't find it in the stores. I looked for many stores. Back in Maryland, I found it everywhere, but not here. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the information. So this also requires one little envelope. And the soy sauce, I don't really use it, but I'm going to put it here because the recipe says it. But you can also add a little bit of. And the last thing is going to be our egg that we made from the flax seed. So if you see, has a little thick. Now when we have everything together, we're going to mix it. So now that everything is ready, everything is, like you see, it's not too watery, but also it's not too dry. Then you preheat the oven at 350, and this is ready to go in the oven. You cover this with aluminum foil for 1 hour, and then after an hour, take off the aluminum foil and leave it there for about 10-15 minutes, and ready to eat after that. Let me show you the final. And this is how it looks. And I tried before the vegetarian kind with the eggs and the cheese, and this tastes the same because the tofu and the flax seeds and all the ingredients makes the taste of the same thing. It's really, really good. So, any questions?
try this because I make the cottage cheese egg version, and I have not tried this, so I'm very anxious to try it. Thank you for that. Okay, we are going to do another recipe here. Let's bring up the...
Oh, I forgot one thing. I'm sorry. Well, this is going to go later. I can still add it. I forgot 2 ingredients. 2 nutritional yeast. I forgot. This one has it. And since I didn't find this, I didn't have it at home, this, I have this, I brought this from Maryland. It's also plant-based. I don't know if we can find it at the store that the sister is telling me, but it's about the same. Also, so this is, the amount is in the recipe, so I don't know also where you can find this. I don't know. Maybe sprouts, winged and sprouts. Oh yes, winged. I saw it. Yes, that's right. So this also, I forgot to add it here, but it's in the original, the one you're going to taste. That's the one you're going to taste. This I can still add it. But this is very important because it has a lot of vitamins, especially vitamin B12, because this is not real meat, so this is very important. Plus, gives a little bit of a cheesy flavor. It's really good. I use this for my popcorn.
Is it better to work over here? Okay. Let's see. There we go. All right. And your recipes. You are looking for oatmeal patties. And this I have made forever. I don't remember when I first got this recipe, but I talked to my son. Well, I got to tell you a story first. The first time I ever did a cooking school was in Minneapolis, and I was in Minneapolis, and we had just moved to Minneapolis. We waited for our son to be born, our firstborn, so that we could move. And so we got a phone call at the church. My husband was pastor there. We got a phone call from some Mormon ladies. They said, "We have discovered that our children are better behaved if they don't eat flesh foods." And so they wanted some, to learn how to cook vegetarian. And so that's the first time I had just taken a class. I was really expectant when I was taking that class. But anyway, I had just done that. It was really providential. I told them at the church, now I'll have to have a mirror overhead. Isn't this wonderful what he's doing? Setting that up for you. But so we made a plan. We got it there. I didn't do much talking. I got people to do my talking for me. I organized it. But my one recipe that I really enjoyed making was the oatmeal patties, and it's so simple. And so the newspaper in Minneapolis came and they said, "We would like to write a story about your cooking school." And so they did a whole front page on the women's section. And they came and took pictures. There was my husband standing there and me, and he's holding Donnie, who's not yet a year old, And yesterday, my son called, and I said, "Donnie, this is what I'm doing these days." And I said, do you remember ever eating oatmeal patties that has the mushroom soup over it? And he says, "Do I?" He loved them. So anyway, so from his babyhood all the way, he's had them. I did get a phone call from the lady who was doing the story, and she said, I can't make meatballs out of them or patties like you do meat. And I said, "No, you don't do that. You simply spoon it up and you drop it on a hot skillet. And then it forms its patties, and it works very nicely." So anyway, let's see if we can, let me know if you can't hear, because I'm not noted for speaking loudly. Okay, you found your recipe? Do you have it? Okay, I start off. We're going to change it. I was married to a man who hated onions. He didn't just not like onions. He despised onions. So we never, and I have a daughter just like that. I have a son who loves them. but I did everything with onion powder. So we have 5 eggs. I usually double this recipe because I like it so well that I eat a fair amount. And then you take your crackers, and you don't just roll them out. Don't just roll out your crackers. Just kind of crumble them like this. That gives a little, it makes your patties not as firm, tight, you know, it gives a little space in there. And then quick oats, and we're going to do 2/3 of a cup of oats. Now, we have poultry seasoning, or sage works just as well. And let's see, this is, let's see if my daughter, 1 teaspoon, huh? Some people really don't like this. My dad did not like this flavor very much, so you go light on some for them, you know. Do it for your family. Do it the way they like it. Don't insist. And then onion powder. Oh, what did we say here? We didn't say, but we're going to do this. Let's see. And we just keep going. You'll never guess, really. Well, I couldn't find the one that I brought, or didn't bring, whichever. And I don't use onion salt or powder because the crackers have salt in them. So, there we go. These are such a simple, easy thing, and very few ingredients. So, okay. Carol, do you have some of these ready to go? She's been over here working on it. The sauce then is mushroom soup. I have a recipe in there. If you don't want to use mushroom soup, you can make your own. And then soy sauce, and thin it down with water.
I need to put it there.
You need, yeah.
Are the noodles done? Can you see that one?
So when you're putting it on, I would make it get down in there.
I didn't want to use my fingers.
This is my daughter, by the way, Carol. And then when you're putting them on, just, make sure that they all get moist
Get those, and I'll put it back in the oven so they'll be nice and tender for you.
so you can taste them.
Okay, thank you.
Almost. There you go.
Wait, I don't want to put this in there.
Hot. Okay. Now, let's see here. What's next? I absolutely forgot to put a recipe on for you. It was my own burgers that my family grew up with, and we're going to try to reconstruct it out of the head. I've done it many, many times. So, Carol, I need someone to take this. And then I need the stuff for the burger. Do you have a tray set for burgers?
No. I'm just baking them right now. You want this a little bit?
We're going to talk about it.
I forgot to tell him something.
Okay, tell them.
I brought this from my refrigerator, and I thought, this is what not to do. But somebody gave me a bunch of green peppers, and I couldn't cook them fast enough. But it's all wrinkled. It's green, but it's all wrinkled. And when I was talking about how to shop, you don't want to. I don't think I'm going to use this. It looks pretty bad.
So, How many of you are vegetarian already? Okay. And do you have a favorite product you use for burgers? You have one you use all the time? What is it? You. What? I can't hear you, so shout it out.
Q-U-R-N.
Oh, I've seen that at the store. I have not tried that. And you like that one very much for burgers. Is it already made in a burger for you? Okay. 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 All right. The one that I use traditionally, which is not necessarily real handy, but I understand, did you say that Winco maybe has this? You told me that. So this is made by Worthington Loma Linda. They've been in the market for a long time. If you don't, this is processed food, you have to keep in mind. Pardon me? Did you say something? Anyway, it is a processed food. So if you prefer something like the burgers, the oatmeal patties, make them big enough and let them not be just soupy. And then you could use that, a product similar. And there's recipes in the cookbooks as well for the oatmeal type burgers. Another thing that that I use is G. Washington, and I believe I heard somebody talking about that. Was it you talking? Yes. So I buy it bulk in a case, and have it on hand for myself because I put it in several things. It's just a salty, flavorful. You could use a little salt and onion powder, that kind of a thing. So I believe I would use 8 eggs with this. So you don't have this recipe. I finished at midnight last night typing the recipes, and this one I wasn't finished, obviously. But so it has the eggs, and I put in oatmeal. It'll take about, for a can, it might take half a cup of oatmeal, just raw, straight in, and some flour, depending on how thicker, if you want it thicker, a little thicker. Let's see, and I put in the G. Washington, and I put in onion powder, and trying to think if I'm missing anything. Carol, what else have I forgotten to put in this thing when you make them?
Eggs, oatmeal, a little bit of flour.
Parsley. I put in parsley, dried parsley.
For 1 can of burger, if you just oatmeal, it's perfect.
Depends on your hand
Quick
size.
This happens to be the perfect size.
Do you want to borrow her?
I'll measure it all for you.
Okay, anything else?
Onion powder, GW seasoning, eggs. Done.
I think it's pretty simple. I like them a thinner than fatter, but you can do whatever you like. It's your patties then. And then you put on it, if you're serving someone that's used to eating meat, you put all the fixings out, and then they can put on what they like, and then it'll seem more like home to them.
If you take a egg ring that you cook eggs in, you can just form them in there perfect, and it's faster. It's my trick.
Good, yeah. She cooks for kids. She's a principal of a school, teaches 7th and 8th grade, and loves them, and they love her. So anyway, she turned her garage into a playroom for her kids, and they come and they watch film, and they play games. She turned, the garage door is a whole screen that she can shoot pictures on. So yeah, she pampers her kids. So anyway, okay. Now, if you're too busy and you don't want to do that, what can you do? We need to prepare some of this. Just put it in the microwave and let it get crisp. It's about a minute, maybe a little more. We have spicy black bean, if you like spicy. These are Morningstar Farms. These are the original grillers. These are the original chick patties, which I have just gotten where I live alone, and I think, okay, I really need to eat more protein. I love bread, I love all that stuff, but I need some more of this. So if I'm not having time to cook a whole meal, I make a big amount of food for the weekend because I have people at my house every weekend after church. And then if I don't have, if I try to have some left over so I have a few days of eating on it. Let's see, what else do you want to know? What else have we got? Oh, are we ready with the noodles? Oh my. We have a recipe that's not ready. So I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's look at the schedule here. I know what, we brought some veggies, and I have a dip that I really enjoy. Let's see, where is the veggies? Curry and curry right here. Curry's right here. Okay. And I need onion powder, and I need a dish. Okay. Thank you. Nice to have everybody pampering you here. Now, this is do you know Vegenaise? Everybody know Vegenaise? That's not a good fan. I'm sorry. Did we break it? Okay. Okay. All right. So the recipe, where is the recipe? Somebody find the recipe. What's it on there? I'll tell you what, I don't use a recipe. It's in there. I'm pretty sure I did type that one last night, but I'll just show you really quick because I really don't measure it. But I tried to give you pretty much what I use. The Vegenaise is vegan, plant-based. So about a cup. This is the way they do on TV too. About a cup. And I think it's a fourth. Anybody reading it? A fourth of a.
Is it curry with dressing?
Pardon me?
Curry with dressing?
I didn't understand.
The curry.
Curry. Yes. There you go. So, onion powder. I wish I had mine. Is there another onion powder that's not stiff?
There's one right there.
Good. Because you got to be able to do it the right way, Carol always says you got to hold your mouth right. Well, here we go. Hold our mouth right. Like that. Okay, and then not so much curry. And just stir it all up till it's a pretty pink, and you dip your vegetables in it. And if you want it pinker, then you know what to do. So we'll have some of that on the table for you to taste as well. And it helps the vegetables. When I have this on, Carol really likes carrots when I have this ready. So. Okay. Now, what else do we have? Tell me, is there anyone here who does not know what a haystack is? Everybody knows a haystack? Yes. And how do you make it? What do you put under it? What's the foundation? Shout it out to me. What is it going to be? Fritos? Yes. You know something else you can use is brown rice. Or add the two together. It's good. And then what kind of beans do you use? Do you use
straight beans, or do you put like a burger type product? What is it? Chili. A particular kind, homemade? Okay, homemade chili, yes. And who's giving more information? Yes. What is it? Pinto or black beans, yes. And there's other beans you can put on it too. It is a fairly simple, yummy thing. Now, what do you like on your haystacks? Onions for you. Oh, yes. Okay, anything else? Olives. What? Tomatoes. Lettuce? Tomatoes, olives. Avocado is good, yes. Guacamole or straight chopped. What is it? Cheese. Yes. Sour cream, cilantro. I don't know about that one. But you know, there's so many ways, and you get to make it yourself. And I was making this when we were in Denver. After we retired, we lived 3 years in Denver, and we were serving a church there. And a lady, I started making a meal every weekend, you know. And a lady was there, and I said, well, I think next weekend we're going to do haystacks. Other people call it taco salad, by the way. But she said, what's that? And I said, come and see. So she was there, and afterwards she said, I like that. And I said, okay, you can be one of our church members. You passed the test. So anyway, you have to have fun with it. What else do we have? I think that we're going to put the food out. If you want to take a little break, you can look at the cookbooks back there, and we're going to put the food on the table, and then we'll let you know as soon as it's ready, okay? We want to put this in something pretty, and might need to make more, I don't know. That is for the burger? This is actually for the dip. Oh, for the dip. Oh, yes. Okay, let's make some more.
Are we taking it out?
What's that? Yes, let's take it out, and she's going to arrange the table.
I wanted to tell you something. You were talking about this. My husband makes the best veggie burgers out of this. And you know what he does?
What?
He uses this can, puts 2 eggs in it, and sprinkles some flour in it. He mashes stuff up really, mashes it with a fork really good. So it's more mushy than what it is when it comes out of here.
Oh, yes.
But just 2 eggs and flour, and he gets about 9-10 burgers out of the thing.
I think I normally get about 16 because of the oatmeal and the flour. But
I make pecan patties and bring them to Potluck every month. And I use pecan meal and oatmeal. Those 2.
That sounds
and
good.
I use brown gravy.
yes.
And I make a brown gravy and mushroom mix. But I've noticed that whenever I have some of them left over and I have it at home, I use just a mushroom soup gravy over it, and they taste totally different.
Really?
Yeah, than the brown gravy.
Interesting.
I make the brown gravy for here.
Yes. Okay.
These all look and smell good.
Yeah. I'm probably going to just make it and take it out to the table.
Because it's already, the noodles are done, I'm just gonna serve them here, and then we can just throw whatever needs to go in. We're good at cleaning up.
Do we have serving spoons?
Right there in this second drawer.
Make them
Right here?
small serving spoons.
I got these kind.
Little ones,
Oh, little serving spoons.
because they get bites, not.
Gotcha. Is there anything that I need to put in here, or do you want me to go ahead?
Look at the recipe. Yeah, that'd be great. And what I do is I take the fried chicken's already open, and I actually I put butter in it first so it's melt, and then I take the fried chicken, just tear it into bite-sized pieces.
Do you want me to take
And
this
then
one?
just throw it in there, or fry it first?
Well, I normally fry it, but you don't have to.
I do what I feel like, when I feel like. Okay, I need a pretty dish. These trays, babe. These trays. I need a pretty dish.
Right up. There's pretty dishes also up there.
Oh, yeah. We have.
You put the sauce in it too, right, Marty? The fried chicken.
The vegetables.
Thank you, gals, so very much. Where do we find little spoon?
Little spoons was that first one. I didn't see anything smaller than
No.
that first page, version. I don't think there's not anything else smaller.
Okay, those are big enough, because they'll take too much.
Was there not teaspoons over there?
I don't see they can go in the meatballs. Maybe there's,
Yeah, that's the smallest you can find is over there.
what about that?
Do you guys have any more dishes that you're gonna cook, or is this shows, or
I think we're not going to cook more, we're going to,
You already did the hamburger.
we're gonna put on, yeah, so
just the food on this, like now after?
we're putting it out.
Okay, no, I was just asking, 'cause, like that way I can.
Know what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
You want heads up?
So no more. This is it. Or are you still having the talk afterwards?
Not really,
Okay.
because we need time just to answer questions. We've got about 30
Do you want me to go on the live stream and show the books?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let me do that.
That would be great. And then. Let me get this out of your way. You ladies are working hard and.
It's hard trying not to taste it.
Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it. No.
I can't. Every time I make a fried chicken at home, I'm always eating it while I'm cutting it up.
Hey, it's good. It says it all.
I'm ready.
Okay, so you can just talk over the. Oh, here, just this one. You don't need that one. Just this one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This
Oh,
for
wow.
live. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we had for live.
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. We are going to show you a few of the books that Miss Marty has already talked about, and some of the people who also did the demonstrations. So we're going to show you how the books look, the name, and everything, okay? Okay, first of all, and then you tell me, there we go. We have the Earthy Canvas Vegan Cookbook. Here it is, so you can see it up close. There we go. Simple, incredible vegetarian cookbook. Yeah.
Who made Chef what?
Mark Anthony. Just like the singer, Mark Anthony. This one is vegan and vegetarian, both of them. Okay.
Flip it and make it easier. That way you can show them. That works. Yeah, that works. Perfect.
Okay.
That makes it easier.
Yes, definitely. Give them something better. This is, there we go.
There you go. Yeah. Perfect. Awesome.
This one is a really good book if you are looking into some options for your health and sometimes supplementing things when it comes to disease or things. This is a really good book, and the name is The Powerful Play Fight Cancer One Meal at a Time. This one, it's a really good book. It's called Fix It Fast Vegetarian Cookbook.
My sister-in-law says, can you ship it to her?
This one is really good, yes.
She's on YouTube right now watching.
Okay, this is another one called The Vegetarian Book. It has over 300 healthy and wholesome recipes chosen from around the world. So this is more like an international cookbook vegetarian. This is the Essential Vegetarian Cookbook. And the last book is Everyday Vegetarian Cooking Guide. And this is a 6-ingredient cookbook. So that's pretty good. Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We had a great time. We're gonna be doing some tasting right now. And then if you wanna go to our online website, or you can go to our Facebook page, GP Grand Prairie SDA Church. You can also see pictures, and you're gonna see the live stream. So you can go back and check out the recipes. Thank you.